Deku and Momo's bond is growing, but so are the challenges. What happens next? Let's dive in. Trying to forget about that matter, Izuku as he left UA Momo called him. Momo. Midoriya, I hope not to bother you but, how did you manage to make such a complete report of my quirk with a single talk? Izuku. Well, not only did I take the talk into account, in practice I was the one who could best observe the quirk of my opponents and yours, so it was easier for me. Another thing to take into account is that as a child I was not passionate about heroes, or at least not until I discovered him. Eraser had a name that does complete justice to his quirk. After that moment the quirks of others began to interest me enough to the point that he made large notes about their quirks. Momo. Wait, not that such Eraserhead as our teacher Izuku was a little surprised by those words of the girl. Izuku. I'm surprised that you recognized him, since I remember that no matter how much he goes out in public nobody bothers him or talks. Momo. Well, it turns out that one of my hobbies was similar to yours, only I went out to the park to see other boys' quirks, but tell me, do you still admire Eraserhead? Izuku. Luckily yes, although because of a hero it has happened to me too much I guess I was never interested, although there is something that did change, now he is the only hero I admire, was that all? Momo. I'm glad about how you have taken your situation, see you later. Izuku just raised his hand in response to the girl. Izuku. Nothing gets past you, right? Eraserhead. I still don't understand how you do that, well I guess I shouldn't know that either, right? Izuku. You already knew that, don't you remember? Eraserhead. You're right. Izuku. I'll see you tomorrow, see you later. After this Izuku left UA. As he walked he couldn't get that moment out of his head, he didn't understand what had happened. How the hell did the use of his quirk increase from one day to the next? Maybe it was because of something Recovery Girl did, or at least that's what he thought. When he got to his apartment he just wanted to go into his room and settle until a voice stopped him from doing so. Surely you're wondering what happened to your quirk, aren't you? The boy quickly turned around to see a slightly tall subject with several hands on his body. Izuku. Let me guess, they are a band of villains that studies UA students. I interested them for some reason and now they have a deal with me for knowing how to fix my issue. You are as intuitive as I thought, well it is something similar, only the deal we offer you is better than you think. Izuku. Speak. We are understanding each other, we have someone who can help you with your condition, do not worry we have not disclosed it, you only have two options, go with us and have a long life, or stay here to see how this world slowly falls and you will not be able to do anything. You will realize when it is that you must give us the answer before Izuku speaks. That man disappeared while a purple cloud covered him. Izuku. In what the hell did I just get into? The rest of the day Izuku thought of nothing but the man's words. Izuku. Eraserhead. Izuku left his apartment hoping to find the hero. Luckily for him it didn't take long to see him passing between the buildings. After following him for a while he waited for him to be watching from somewhere high up to create a light drawing the hero's attention. Eraserhead. What are you doing here so late? Izuku. A gang of villains wants me for them. Eraserhead. What are you planning to do? Izuku. I have something planned, I need to tell him now, hopefully we can do it tomorrow. Eraserhead. I understand, speak. Izuku. Well, first of all we must get a tracking device, so he can know my location, all of UA must be on alert. They mentioned that they could attack whenever. When that happens I will be the only one who intervenes and I will go with them. I know it is not the safest but immediately you will go to the location and wait for my signal. Maybe there is someone else working for them against you. I will try to save you. Eraserhead. Where do you plan to get that tracking equipment? Izuku. Using my quirk is not an option for several reasons which is why only someone comes to mind and it is you who should do it. Yaoyorozu. Yes, if you ask for it, there will be no problem. Maybe you doubt why you want it but I don't think it will come to anything. Eraserhead. So tomorrow before going to the simulation center I will ask for them and, do I give them to you? Izuku. Sure, only you keep the tracking screen, you give the chip to me, at that same moment I will implant it and we will verify that everything works correctly. Eraserhead. I understand, it will be better if you rest, now you really need it. They both left the place without anything else to add. Izuku had some relief inside him although that did not prevent his tension from lowering. The next day Izuku was heading straight to UA. When the middle of the day came it went normally until the moment came when both would ask Momo for that team. The day had passed normally until the middle of the day when Eraserhead gave the order to everyone except Momo and Izuku to go to the buses that would take them to the emulation center. When the hero made sure that no one would hear, he called Momo. Eraserhead. I need you to create something, can you? Momo. It depends on what it is. Eraserhead. I need a very discreet tracking team. Momo. I think there will be no problem. After a moment, Momo had created the most discreet team she could. After that, the hero gave her the order to retreat, leaving her alone with Izuku. Eraserhead. Hurry up and do what you're going to do, there's not much time. Izuku. Who said it would take time? After that, Izuku took the chip and implanted it without any problem. Both left the room. It did not take long for them to reach the emulation center. At the entrance of this, there were two recognized heroes, All Might and 13. They all calmly got off the bus to proceed to enter the center. To their surprise, not only they had entered, hundreds of villains were inside that dome. Only maximum tension had been created while All Might and 13 prepared to fight until the appearance of that guy with his hands on his body. Well, give up now! At that moment, Izuku walked between the two heroes. Izuku. They are really in a hurry. All Might. Young Midoriya, don't come closer! Ignoring the hero's words, he just jumped to stand in front of the villain. All Might was about to intervene, however, Eraserhead stopped him, leaving All Might confused. Izuku. I'll go with you, any questions? Not at all, I trust you. Izuku. Just one more thing, get rid of all of them and don't come back to UA. It's something simple, it's time to go. At that moment, absolutely all the villains along with Izuku disappeared from the place. Nobody knew what had happened. Everyone maintained a tense silence until a voice came back to everyone. All Might. What did you just do? Why did you let me go with them? Eraserhead. Stop being impulsive. At that moment, Eraserhead left the field while taking out the tracking device and headed to the location he marked. At that moment, Momo managed to see that it was the same one she had created. Everyone just watched Eraserhead leave without anything else to say while All Might was angry and disappointed. 13. Everyone get back on the buses calmly. Everyone left without saying anything. Although they were bewildered, no one had replied or asked anything. In reality, Izuku had no friends and the only people who spoke to him had changed their attitude very suddenly. The bus left only with the teacher's instructions to drop each of the students off at their homes. All the UA heroes were on full alert. They were gathered in a slightly dark room. All Might. It can't be that Aizawa just left without further ado. What the hell is he thinking? Nezu. You don't have to be alarmed, he always thinks things over before acting, and due to the boys' behavior it's most likely that they've come up with a plan. All Might. And why only the two of them? Don't they trust us? Nezu. I can't give you an answer, but the only one who knows the boy better than anyone else is Aizawa. All Might didn't say anything else and the other heroes just stood there in silence, staring at the director. Eraserhead hadn't traveled far to get to the place the tracker indicated. Izuku. Who are you guys? Well, we are an association called the League of Villains. Izuku. They couldn't think of a better name. At that moment the subject looked annoyed at Izuku. Okay, continue. My name is Tomura Shigaraki, I can't give you much information, but now we'll get straight to the point. Follow me, I'll introduce you to the person who will help you. They both walked for a moment until they reached a small room. When they opened the door, they only found a very scared little girl. Izuku. What the hell is wrong with you? She's just a little girl, what makes this girl special? Tomura. Well, it was thanks to her quirk that we were able to make her increase and decrease her limit. However, she doesn't control her quirk, and if she does something wrong, she can make anyone disappear without any problem. But we discovered that your quirk is capable of helping her in that aspect. It seems that if you activate your quirk and maintain contact, it can act as a filter that facilitates its use. Izuku. I understand, I would like to try it now, could you leave me alone? Tomura. Just don't do something stupid. That's how Izuku entered the room while the door closed behind him. The girl was a little scared when she saw Izuku. Izuku. Hey, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you, I promise. Tell me, what's your name? Eri. Izuku. Eri, what a nice name. Well, Eri, I'm Izuku, it's a pleasure to meet you. Well, these guys just want to hurt you, but I'm here to help you get out of this. Do you trust me? Eri. Yes. Eri, despite not having spoken to anyone, the sweet and kind tone with which Izuku had spoken to her gave her enough reason to believe in him. Izuku. Well, They mentioned that I can help you control your quirk. We need that since I can't use all my quirk without your help. Eri. If I do that, I can hurt you. Izuku. Don't worry, you won't, I promise. At that moment Izuku activated his quirk with his cat ears, which made Eri smile a little. Izuku. Climb on my back. Izuku helped Eri get on his back while he activated his quirk on Izuku's orders. Although at first he was afraid to do so, when he activated it nothing happened to Izuku. The latter only created a kind of portal where through it Eraser Head could be seen. Eri was a little scared when she saw Eraser Head. Izuku. Don't worry, he will help us. Izuku caught Eraser Head's attention when he said this. He just limited himself to looking at where the voice came from. Seeing that Izuku stretched out his hand, Eraser Head just took it and helped him up. When they were already on the roof, Izuku lowered Eri while they both deactivated their quirk. Eraser Head. I thought that would be harder. Izuku. It may have been, but in the end the only thing I could think of was to do that. By the way, this is Eri, come on, say hello, it won't hurt you. Eri was just hiding behind Izuku, she really had other people. It wasn't long before Eri spoke to Izuku. Eri. I want to go. Izuku. Don't worry, Eraser Head, let's go. Eri climbed onto Izuku's back, only this time neither of them activated their quirk, they just walked while Izuku hummed a song. Eri. Thank you. Izuku. Don't worry, from now on I promise that you will always be safe. Eraser Head just watched the scene while analyzing Izuku's attitude. Until now he had only seen two parts of him. After a while they arrived at UA. Izuku wanted to put Eri down but she didn't let him put her down. Eraser Head. Follow me. Izuku just followed the hero while talking to Eri in a low voice. After a short walk they arrived at a room where all the heroes were. Nezu. You're finally back. All Might was about to go out and look for you and beat you up. All Might was about to hit Eraser Head, however Izuku got between these two, preventing All Might from hitting him. Izuku. Tell me, why would you hit him? All Might. And now everyone is against me. Izuku. It's not that we're against you, you just don't think things through very well, right Eri? The little girl just nodded her head. Well, if you'll allow me, I've got you, we have to go. With these words Izuku alone left that room to go to his apartment. Izuku. They're very annoying, don't you think? Eri. Yes, where are we going? Izuku. Well, you need a shower, and I can't help you with that, so I think we'll go to a friend's house. Eri. Are you sure? Izuku. Yes, I hope you like it. They both changed direction until they reached Momo's house. Izuku just rang the bell. After a while an older man dressed in an elegant black suit opened the door. Excuse me, what can I help you with? Izuku. I'm here to see Miss Yaoyorozu. Wait a moment. It took about 5 minutes for Momo to arrive with them. Momo. Midoriya? What are you doing here? Izuku. Well, I would like to ask you a favor. Maybe it sounds a little strange but, I need you to bathe someone. Momo. Why don't you do it? Izuku. Okay. Izuku showed Eri who was still on his back. Momo. I see, come in. Izuku. Thank you. Both boys were just walking until Momo spoke. Momo. How do you know where I live? Izuku. I used my quirk to know where you were. Momo. That couldn't. Izuku. But tell me, how have you been? Momo understood Izuku's point so she didn't mention anything. Momo. Well, I guess we're there. Izuku. Well, Eri, I need you to come down, don't worry, you'll be safe. Eri. Yes. Izuku crouched down so that Eri could get off without any problems. Izuku. Now just go with her, I'll wait for you out here. Momo just entered the shower while holding Eri by the hand. Izuku just sat on the floor and leaned against a wall. 30 minutes had passed until they both left the bathroom. When they left they realized that Izuku had fallen asleep, only there was something strange, he had tears in his eyes. Izuku. Ma, why you? Eri seeing this was a little worried about Izuku so she went to Izuku and woke him up. Eri. What's wrong, are you okay? Although Izuku had been a little scared, the feeling passed when he saw Eri. Izuku. Don't worry, I was just asleep underscore. Eri. Then why are you crying? Izuku just turned to look at Momo so that she just affirmed him. Izuku. It's nothing, fine, it would be better if we went, I don't want to bother Yaoyorozu anymore. Eri. Too bad, I wanted to spend more time with her. Izuku. Wait, Izuku got up to go to Momo. Would you let us stay, just for a moment? She's been through a lot and I don't want her not to talk to people, could you be with her for a moment? Momo. I have nothing else to do, but, what will you do? Izuku. Actually, I'm too tired, maybe I'll just sleep, of course I'll just lie down here, I won't invade your bed. Momo. Don't worry, you can use my bed, anyway this is my room. Izuku. I appreciate it. At the end of that talk, while Izuku was only talking to Eri, Momo had noticed that Izuku's attitude had changed. Now he had a different aura, one of a person you can trust and will protect you no matter what. Izuku. Eri, go with her, I'll stay here. Eri. You won't get bored? Izuku. Don't worry about it, I've got it covered, now just have fun. Eri just went with Momo as they both headed to a desk with a few books on top. Izuku just limited himself to watching how Eri was sitting on Momo's legs. Izuku couldn't stand sleep any longer, so he just slowly closed his eyes. Suddenly Izuku just woke up abruptly, he was sweating something that had scared Eri. English, Eri. You're okay. Izuku. Very sure, how long did I sleep? Momo. Around 2 hours. Izuku. You better. Momo. It's too late already, you better stay here. At that moment Izuku's nervous side returned. Izuku. I wouldn't want to bother you anymore. Momo just gave him a small smile which made Izuku blush too much. Momo. Don't worry, they're not a problem, it never hurts to be with someone. Eri. Please Izuku. Izuku. It's okay, I'll sleep on the floor, you two can sleep in the bed. Momo. Just let me. Izuku. Don't worry, this is fine, I just have to go to the bathroom. Izuku got out of bed to go to the bathroom, while inside he washed his face while staring at the mirror. Izuku. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel weird? And am I blushing? I should rest, although maybe it's just that. No, it can't be that, I don't even know her well. Izuku left the bathroom. When he left he only saw Momo with her hair down, which managed to upset Izuku a little. Momo. You finally come out, take it, I hope it fits. Izuku. Thank you. Izuku left the room to put on the pajamas that Momo had made for him. When he entered the room again he could see how Momo was reading a book to Eri. Without realizing it he had a small smile. Before he could react both girls turned to see him, causing a blush in Momo and great joy in Eri. The action of these two made Izuku a little nervous. He tries to move on from the subject he just said. Izuku. It would be better to sleep now, don't you think? Eri. Just 20 more minutes. Izuku. Aren't you tired from everything today? Eri. Well, they never treated me badly, they just didn't let me know anything and forced me to do things I didn't want to, and once they forced me to do something to you. Izuku. Don't worry about me, in fact you helped me. Momo. How much did you two do? Izuku. I'll tell you tomorrow. Izuku just sat next to the bed using it as a support to lean on. Although Izuku fell into total sleep he could not notice that both girls had not fallen asleep, but that Eri was telling him everything that had happened to Momo. Momo. So he rescued you. Eri. Not only that, but he also promised me that nothing would ever happen to me and that he would always protect me. Momo. That's very nice of him. Eri. I just noticed something on him. When I was on his back I noticed a small scar, do you know what it is? The girl, remembering the attitude Izuku had taken before, decided not to say anything to him. Momo. I don't know, maybe he fell when he was little and it caused that scar. Eri. Maybe you're right. Momo. I don't want to sound strict but it would be better to sleep. Eri. Sure, just, could you give me a kiss? Momo. I'd be happy to. Momo approached Eri to give her a small kiss on the forehead and say good night. It was already dawn and Izuku was beginning to see certain rays of light on his face. When he woke up he noticed this and, avoiding opening his eyes, he began to look for his glasses. Izuku. It can't be, I left them here. Momo. You're looking for this. Izuku. It depends, what is it? Momo. Some glasses. Izuku. Then yes. Momo. Why are you wearing them? Izuku. My eyesight isn't in the best possible shape. Momo. I understand, here. Izuku just reached out his hand to take the glasses. As he put the glasses on, he slowly opened his eyes. He opened them fully, seeing how Momo was close to him and her hair was completely loose, which made Izuku nervous. Momo. You shouldn't use them, they only hide your eyes. At that moment Izuku blushed too much. Izuku. I have no choice. Momo just got closer and closer to Izuku's face, who was just super nervous, and his blush was through the roof. Before anything could happen, Eri woke up talking to Izuku, causing Momo to quickly back away. Eri. What were you doing? It seemed fun. Izuku. It was nothing. Izuku, a little nervous, answered Eri. Eri. That's bad. Momo was just sitting on the floor thinking about what she was going to do. Momo. What happened to me? I was about to kiss him, I barely know him. That would have been very bad. Well, how about we have some breakfast? Eri. Can we? Izuku. Sure. At these words Eri just cheered and went to the bathroom. Momo. I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was doing. Izuku. Don't worry, thanks for everything, and I don't mean to judge you, but what did you have planned to do? Momo. I don't know what happened to me, I just got carried away. Izuku could no longer hide his blush. Izuku was about to speak when Eri came out of the bathroom. Eri. Ready, let's go have breakfast. Momo. Follow me. Both of them only followed Momo a few centimeters behind her. After a long time they had arrived at a large dining room in which they just sat and waited for breakfast to be ready. Eri. Your house is very nice, Momo. Momo. Thank you, remember that you can come whenever you want. Eri. Yes. In the middle of this little chat, breakfast arrived and apparently Izuku hadn't noticed. Izuku. But who will Eri stay with when she's at UA? But I don't want to risk her being taken again, this is more complicated than I thought. The only thing that could bring Izuku out of his thoughts was a small scream from Eri. Eri. Izuku exclamation mark. Izuku. What's wrong? Momo. Breakfast is here, eat before it gets cold. Izuku. Yes. At that moment Izuku just limited himself to eating while listening to both girls talking to each other. Momo. Tell me, Eri, how did you meet Midoriya? Eri. Well, when those villains had me in that room, when they opened the door I only saw him. At first I was scared, but when those cute cat ears came out I calmed down. Momo. He looks cute, right? Eri. Yes exclamation mark. At this comment from Momo, Izuku blushed quite a bit, increasing his speed while eating. Momo. Since it's Saturday, how about going to the park? Eri. Only if Izuku wants. Izuku. You guys go, I have to do something else little. Momo. What do you say, Eri? Eri. I would like to, but it won't be the same without Izuku. Izuku. Come on, don't be like that, we'll go another day. Eri. Promise me? At this moment Izuku gave Eri a big smile which made Momo blush a little. Izuku. I promise. Eri. Okay. Izuku. Now if you allow me, I have to go. Momo. How about you go change while I walk Izuku to the door? Eri. Yes. Eri walked up the stairs while Izuku just followed Momo from behind. Izuku. Thank you for everything you've done. Momo. It's nothing, why are you doing so much for her? Izuku. Well, before those villains I speak of had already told me about her, although they did not mention that she was just a little girl. From the beginning I had planned together with Eraserhead to save that person they had captured. When I entered and saw her so scared, the only thing that crossed my mind was to save her no matter what. Momo. That is very nice of you. Izuku. It's nothing, I'm just doing what I can. By the way, it's not to bother you, but another day can we talk about what happened in the room? Momo. Sure. At these words, and luckily for Momo, they had already reached the door. Izuku. I leave Eri to you, please take care of her. Momo. Yes. And that's how Izuku left the place without saying anything else. When Izuku left the house he only went to one place, UA. Izuku knew that having control between taking care of Eri and going to UA. It would not be easy. After a walk Izuku had arrived at UA hoping that there would be someone. Luckily for him the only one who was there was Director Nezu. Izuku. Excuse me, I don't want to bother you, but do you know someone who can help me take care of the little one? Nezu. Not really, but I could help you with that. From now on UA will have its own dormitories. I suppose she can stay there, although, you don't need to take classes. I've read about you, I know you know twice as much as all the third years. Izuku. You're implying that I'm going to stop taking classes to take care of her. Nezu. Only if you want. Izuku. I would really like to, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, thanks for the proposal. Nezu. You're welcome, just tell me where the girl will stay and I'll try to do my best to give her greater protection. Izuku. I appreciate it. Nezu. I just want to know something in return. Izuku. What is it? Nezu. I need you to tell me everything about you and your quirk. Izuku. Why is everyone so interested in you? Me? Nezu. Well, apart from your quirk, very few have experienced what happened to you, don't you think it's obvious? Izuku. I understand. After that Izuku began to tell him in detail everything about his life to save his quirk at the end. Izuku. And as for my quirk, only I know what all its capabilities are, so this is how it is. From the beginning the doctor who performed the examination did not know what my quirk was, but with the passage of time I discovered most of its capabilities. The most notable is probably the one to nullify any effect of any quirk with which I am attacked. Of course it depends on the strength of the attack whether it will hurt me or not. Leaving that aside, it can do things like simulate or create anything that comes to mind. I suppose I do not have to explain this to you. One of the most useful abilities I have is to analyze my entire environment and with it know all the information of my opponent, and with it I can create a kind of portal with which I can go to where there is someone I know and is near the area. Izuku continued talking for a while with Nezu, who just looked at Izuku curious and surprised. After about 2 hours Izuku left UA to go to Momo's house. When he arrived he just knocked on the door. The same man would open, only this time he let him in on Momo's orders. The older man guided Izuku to where Momo and Eri were. Eri. Izuku. You're finally here. Izuku. Did you have fun? Eri. Like never before! Izuku. I'm glad. Momo. What did you do if I may know? Izuku. I was just taking care of where Eri will stay when she is in UA. Momo. And? Izuku. Well, it turns out that the director will set up rooms at UA and mention that she can stay there and be safe. Momo. Did you hear that, Eri? We can spend more time together. Eri. Yes! Izuku. I guess we already ... Momo. What's wrong? Izuku. I think Eri will have to stay here so you can help her bathe. Momo. Well, we had already thought about that and I think the best option will be for me to go to your apartment. Izuku, as usual, got a little nervous at Momo's proposal. Izuku. I don't want to bother you. Momo. Don't worry, I'll be fine, and you said it, it won't be long before we move to the UA dorms. What difference can there be? Eri. Come on, Izuku accepts. Izuku. Okay. Momo. Perfect. Wait a moment, I'll go get some things and we'll go. Izuku. What happened to Yaoyorozu? She didn't even talk to me a few days ago. They both just waited for Momo to finish packing her things to leave the house and head to Izuku's apartment. When they arrived at the aforementioned apartment, Izuku helped Momo put her things in the room. Izuku. Well, it's not as big as your house, but it's a little cozy. Momo. Yes, it seems like it. So this is where he was all the time. He's too alone. Izuku. Then you and Eri will dominate here. I'll sleep in the living room, but now I'll just go cook something. Momo. Okay. How did his attitude change so suddenly? A few days ago he was someone serious and didn't seem any emotion. Eri was just talking to Izuku while he was cooking something. Izuku. How about you go take a bath? Eri. But it's still too early. Izuku. I know, but you'll notice the difference. Can you do that for me? Eri. If you ask me like that. Eri just left the kitchen, leaving Izuku alone. It didn't take long for Izuku to start humming a song unconsciously. At that moment Momo entered the kitchen because she didn't know where the bathroom was. When the girl saw Izuku humming that song while cooking, a somewhat strange scene came to her. Or maybe it was just something that was changing in her. She managed to see how Izuku was a little older and she was sitting at the small table while staring hopelessly at Izuku. Izuku. Yaoyorozu, I didn't see you before, what do you need? Momo. I just wanted to know where your bathroom was. Izuku. Right, I forgot to tell Eri, it's next to the room. At that moment Izuku unconsciously gave her a small smile which made Momo blush. The girl left the kitchen while Izuku continued cooking. After a while they had finished their shower and after changing they went with Izuku. Izuku. Just in time, I hope you like it. Both girls entered the kitchen calmly, sat down and when they tasted Izuku's food they felt something different. Neither of them could describe the taste, but with a few words from Momo, Eri managed to get an idea. Momo. It's like a professional meal but the homemade flavor predominates. Eri. It's like mom's cooking. With these words from Eri, Izuku approached the little girl to look her in the eyes and say. Izuku. I'm glad you like it. Momo. Where did you learn to cook like that? Izuku. I don't know. That meal was quiet. After this Izuku took the plates to start washing them while Eri and Momo talked about random things. When Izuku finished washing the dishes he sat where the girls were. Izuku. It's a little late, don't you think? Momo. Well, there are still 6 hours until 12 o'clock, I guess we can watch a movie. Eri. Come on Izuku, say yes. Izuku. I don't have any movies, that's the problem. Momo. I figured, that's why yesterday we bought one that Eri wanted to see. Izuku. I see, then we can watch it, I'll go clap. That's how Izuku went to the kitchen and Eri and Momo went to the room for the movie. After a while Izuku had already made the popcorn which made Eri happy. Without waiting any longer Izuku put the movie on. In the apartment they only had 2 sofas. Izuku was on a somewhat small one while Momo and Eri on an even larger one. About half an hour passed when Eri realized that Izuku was asleep so she got up and spoke to him. Eri. You said you weren't going to sleep. Izuku. I'm sorry, how about I sit next to you so you can watch me? Eri. I think that's a good idea. Izuku slowly got up to sit on the opposite side of Momo. When the movie ended Izuku just turned to look at Eri who was completely asleep. Izuku. Assuming we're practically alone now, can we talk about what happened at your house? Momo. Sure. Izuku. What exactly were you planning to do? Momo. I don't know, my body moved on its own. Izuku. I understand. Izuku stood up to take Eri, however Momo's voice stopped him. Momo. Has your attitude always been like that? Izuku. What do you mean? Momo. Well, a few days ago you didn't express anything, but now your attitude is cute. Izuku. Well, maybe unconsciously I'm like this when I'm with people I don't want to lose, although I always end up doing it. Momo. Always? Izuku. That's right, my parents, my teacher, all the people I could be happy with died a long time ago, but that's where you and Eri appear. Momo. I understand. After that Izuku just left Eri in the room and returned to the living room. When he got there he lay down on one of the armchairs watching the completely black TV. Izuku. Don't go to sleep too late. Momo. Yes. Izuku didn't mention anything else and then just closed his eyes slowly. After a short time Momo turned to see Izuku and without warning she was completely lost in his face. In Momo's head only more and more questions went through that she couldn't answer unless she asked the boy. Momo when she least noticed it fell completely asleep. The hours passed. Currently it is around 3 in the morning when Izuku slowly woke up. Seeing the entire room he managed to see Momo asleep on the couch. Izuku just took her in his arms and slowly carried her to the bedroom. When he entered it he could only see how Eri was occupying a large part of the bed. Izuku managed to put Momo on a part of the bed, arranged Eri and then do the same with Momo. After that Izuku just drank some water and lay down again on his couch. The day arrived. Izuku was the first to wake up so he chose to take a shower. When he finished his shower he realized that he hadn't taken his clothes before entering so he put on the towel and left the bathroom. Before entering his room the door opened. Momo had only been looking at Izuku. Izuku. Excuse me, could you let me pass? Momo just blushed completely as she stepped aside. Izuku entered the room and after a while he left it and went to the bathroom. Izuku not seeing Momo before decided to knock on the door. Momo. Wait a moment. Izuku just sat on the floor waiting. After a while Momo came out of the bathroom a little calmer but when she saw Izuku again she blushed the same way. Izuku just slowly got up. Momo. And your glasses? Izuku. They are inside. Momo stared into Izuku's eyes. Momo. Even the shine in your eyes is different. With these words Izuku blushed too much. Izuku. I have to change, we will talk in a moment. Izuku just quickly entered the bathroom. After a while Izuku came out while putting on his glasses. Izuku. Did the problem with my eyes decrease because of Eri? When Izuku arrived in the living room he could see how Momo was sitting while hugging her legs. Izuku. Do you want a coffee? Or do you prefer just milk? A tea? Or coffee with milk? Momo. Coffee is fine. Izuku. Okay, wait a bit. Izuku went to the kitchen, took a metal container and put some water in it. After a while he came out of the kitchen with 2 cups in his hands. Izuku. Here. Momo. Thank you. Both of them were just drinking their corresponding drinks. Momo decided to break the silence. Momo. What do you drink? Izuku. It's just milk, I've always been a big fan of this. Momo. Haven't you been feeling weird lately? Izuku. A little, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. Momo. I see. Both boys just kept sipping their drinks until a slightly sleepy Eri called out to Izuku while tugging on his shirt. Eri. I'm a little hungry. Izuku. Wait here, I'll make you some breakfast. Eri just sat next to Momo while waiting for Izuku to finish cooking a light breakfast for her. After a while that breakfast was ready, Izuku just took a small table that was in the living room, brought it closer to Eri and placed her plate. Izuku. Don't you want something to go with it? Eri. Do you have chocolate milk? Izuku. Sure, I'll bring it to you right away. Izuku left the living room to go back to the kitchen. After a while he left the kitchen. Izuku. It seems there is no chocolate, I'll be right back. Eri. It's not ... Izuku. Don't worry, after all, at one point I had to go for more, don't you think? Momo. Run, I'll take care of Eri. Izuku. Thank you. Izuku. Upon leaving his apartment, his seriousness returned without warning. The boy just walked straight to a supermarket. He just thought about everything that had happened these days. He really didn't want to take a liking to them for anything, although he didn't want his feelings to only play a trick on him, making him have more and more affection towards both girls. Izuku. Only 2.5 days, you can't have done it so fast. Midoriya. Realizing that she was in the store alone, she took a new chocolate powder and headed back to her apartment. When she got there, Eri had already finished her breakfast, so she had to drink her milk alone. Eri. It's delicious. Izuku. I'm glad you like it. Momo. Midoriya, can we talk for a moment? Izuku. Sure, here or ... Momo stood up, causing Izuku to do the same. They both walked until they reached Momo's room. Don't you think we should get to know each other better? Izuku. What do you mean? Momo. Well, I've really grown fond of Eri, I don't want to have to stop seeing her because you feel uncomfortable. Izuku. Don't worry about it, whenever you want to see her just do it and that's it. As for your question, maybe it's a bit complicated. I really haven't talked to practically anyone since my parents and teacher passed away. Maybe I'm just scared and that's all. Momo. Afraid? Of what? Izuku. Of losing more than I already lost. Momo. Don't worry, we're not going to be more than friends, are we? Izuku had noticed that, or yes? Momo said, which made Izuku blush a little. Friends, that doesn't sound bad. Momo. Thanks for accepting. Izuku. It's nothing, let's go with Eri, she must be waiting for us. They both left the room to go to where Eri was. When they reached the living room they found Eri, who was petting a small Siamese cat. Izuku. I see you've already met Kuro. Eri. He's very cute, is he yours? Izuku. He only comes to the apartment from time to time, I guess he doesn't have an owner. What do you say, should we take him in? Eri. Yes! Izuku. It's done, as I already mentioned, he's Kuro. Eri. I like the name. The day passed normally. This time they went to sleep earlier than yesterday since it was Monday and Izuku knew it would be an exhausting day. The next day Izuku, when he noticed that Momo was waking up, mentioned that he should just change and go to UA. Both just walked at a slow pace. Being in UA they just waited for the day to pass normally. At the end of classes Eraser Head mentioned that he had an announcement to make. Eraser Head. After what happened at USJ, the director decided that UA will have their own dormitories. They will have 2 days to move. Everyone, after making a small fuss, left the classroom without saying anything else. Although the relationship between Momo and Izuku improved in parts, in UA Momo had formed a group of friends which Izuku decided to respect and be alone again with that cold face. Izuku only approached Momo for a moment to tell her that he was waiting for her in the apartment to pack and move to UA. Izuku was in the apartment. He only saw how Eri was playing a little with Kuro. Izuku. I see you're having fun. Eri. I'm teaching him some things. Izuku. I'm glad, but now I have something to tell you. Eri. What's wrong? Izuku. We'll go to UA to live starting tomorrow. Maybe you feel insecure, but if you don't feel ready to be with more people, Yaoyorozu and I will be there. Eri. It's okay. Izuku just packed the few things he had and was practically ready to leave. He was just talking to Eri when Momo knocked on the door. Izuku just opened the door, letting Momo in. Eri. Why did you take so long? Momo. I just stayed for a while talking with a friend. Eri. That means I'll be able to meet her soon. Momo. That's right, I guess Midoriya already mentioned it to you. Eri. Yes. Momo just took a shower and packed the things she had brought. After Emil and Izuku took a shower, they took their things to leave the apartment. Momo. Why are we changing so soon? Izuku. It's just caution. Momo. I understand. They didn't have to walk too far because of the apartment's proximity to UA after that momentary walk before they realized they were already in the facilities where they would be staying. Upon entering, there were only two people talking to each other, both boys, one redhead and the other blonde. Izuku just ignored these two while Momo just greeted them. Izuku went up to his corresponding room while Eri carried Kuro. Upon arriving at the room as expected, it only had a single bed and a small desk on which Izuku only left a few things on it. Eri. What are we going to do now? Izuku. You could go with Yaoyorozu to help her tidy up her room, maybe it would be more fun than here. Eri. I wouldn't want to leave you alone. Izuku. Don't worry, can I come with you? Eri. Yes. Izuku took Eri by the hand to leave the room and go to Momo's. When Izuku arrived, he knocked on the door. After this, they passed at the voice of Momo. Izuku. Sorry to bother you, but I thought it would be a better idea for Eri to be here. Momo. Don't worry, as for Eri, of course she can stay, I want to introduce her to someone. Izuku. I'll leave them. After that, Izuku returned to his room to take out and arrange a few things. As for Momo and Eri, they were just waiting for one of Momo's friends to arrive. After a while, a girl with short violet hair entered the room. Kyoka. I'm here. Momo. What's wrong? Kyoka. Whose girl is that? Momo. That's it, it's a long story, she's Eri, say hello. Eri. Hello. Kyoka. It's a pleasure to meet you, I'm Jiru Kyoka. Eri. Are you going to stay here too? Kyoka. Not in this room, but in the one next door. Momo. How about we start fixing this, then we'll go get yours, Kyoka. Kyoka. That's not a bad idea. This is how a hard but fun job began. Although there were things that Momo thought were a bit heavy, luckily they didn't need anyone else's help. After a good while of arranging Momo's room just as it was, she said it was time to fix Kyoka's. Following an even simpler procedure than Momo's, they had finally finished arranging both rooms. Eri. Now that we're done, I'll go with Izuku to see what he's doing. Momo. Do you want me to accompany you? Eri. Yes, please. Momo. Kyoka, could you wait here until I get back? Kyoka. No problem. Momo left Kyoka's room with Eri to go to Izuku's room. When she arrived, Momo knocked on the door. After a moment, Izuku opened the door. Izuku. Did you have fun? Eri. Yes, it's just that we're done and I wanted to be with you. Izuku. No problem, come in. After that, Momo returned to Kyoka's room. While she entered, she just looked at her with a slightly strange look. Kyoka. It was Midoriya who mentioned that little girl. Momo. I guess I can't put this off any longer. Kyoka. Please tell it now. After that, and Momo broadcasting everything that Izuku had told her about him, I saved a somewhat curious topic for last. Momo. Although in reality what surprised me the most was Midoriya's attitude. Instead of being someone serious, his personality changed to being kind and with a smile and warm look. Kyoka. It sounds too tempting to know that side of Midoriya. Momo. The first time I saw him like that, I must admit that I was surprised. Kyoka. Now that I remember, I think I once saw him smile. I was about to enter a store when he was leaving a building. He saw a small cat, he crouched down and petted it, giving it a very tender and cute smile. Although Momo was surprised, that didn't stop her from hearing the last thing Kyoka said. Momo. Well, since we're talking about him, when I was in his apartment one morning, when I left the room he was in a towel, and since he didn't have his glasses, his eyes were shining like never before. After those words, they both started laughing. Kyoka. How did we get to this? Momo. I have no idea. Kyoka. We look like stalkers. Momo. Now I really have to agree with you. Kyoka. One of these days we'll have to talk to him more. Momo. If you continue. What did you say? Kyoka. That we should get to know him better. Momo. I don't think that's a good idea. Kyoka. Could it be that you're hiding something from me? Momo. Not at all. Kyoka. Maybe you already got ahead of yourself. Momo. How do you think? I wouldn't do something like that. Kyoka. You're too nervous. I'm sure you already proposed it to him. It's not for nothing that you screamed when I mentioned it to you. Momo. It's okay, you win, if I already proposed it. Kyoka. I knew it! Exclamation mark. Momo. Lower your voice. Kyoka. I'm sorry, but I think it's my turn now, if you'll allow me. After that Kyoka left the room, leaving a rather too surprised Momo sitting on the bed. Kyoka, upon reaching Izuku's room, knocked on the door. It didn't take long for Iri to open the door. Kyoka. Hi, I know this is a bit spontaneous, but Momo wants to tell you something. Iri. It's okay. Izuku. Do you want me to accompany you? Iri. I'm fine, thank you. Izuku. It's okay. Iri left the room to go where Kyoka had told her while she was silent at Izuku's door, who had returned to a serious state. Kyoka. I know it's a little weird, but do you want to be my friend? At those words Izuku was a little surprised. Izuku. Are you sure? If it's about a silly bet you can just say that you kept your promise and that's it. Kyoka. Nothing like that, I just want to get to know you more little by little. Kyoka felt embarrassed. Izuku. I understand, I guess there's no problem then. Kyoka. Tomorrow, since we have the day off, would you like to talk a little? Izuku. I don't see the problem. Kyoka. See you tomorrow then. Izuku. Sure. After that Kyoka left the door to return to her room. Momo. It can't be that you did that. Kyoka. Never doubt my abilities. Momo. Yes, I asked Midoriya how you acted plus. Kyoka. Don't even think about it! Exclamation mark. Iri. Why do they talk so much about Izuku? Kyoka. Well, we just want to get to know him better. Momo. You haven't really gotten to know him either, have you? Plus. Iri. I can't say yes, maybe the three of us can get to know him better. Kyoka. You're right. After that, the night had already arrived. It was a somewhat hectic day as Izuku expected, but despite that, some curious things had happened. Although at first Izuku was leaving the bed only for Iri because of her insistence, Izuku ended up sleeping with Iri. The next morning Izuku had woken up in a little pain, although his coughing was no longer as frequent and without much blood. His body, as if it were a side effect of Iri's quirk, had a greater physical load in all aspects, which generated greater fatigue and pain, and even without a logical reason bruises were present on his body. When he stood up completely he went straight to the bathroom. When he left he only let Iri sleep a little more. When he went down to the salt room there was the red-haired boy trying to cook something. At this Izuku approached slowly with his serious attitude. Izuku. Do you need help? I would be lying if I refused. Izuku. Leave it to me. By the way, my name is Eijiro Kirishima. Izuku. Mine is Izuku Midoriya. Eijiro. Why did you decide to move already? Plus. Izuku. I had nothing to do. Eijiro. I see. Although Izuku with his aura created a slightly uncomfortable atmosphere, Eijiro didn't seem to care and just continued the conversation normally. Eijiro. Where did you learn to cook like that? Izuku. It's nothing special, I just looked up on a website how to do it. Eijiro. Amazing, I've tried to do that but it always goes wrong. Izuku. That can be easily fixed, If you want one day I can teach you. Eijiro. That would be fantastic. While Izuku finished cooking, Eijiro kept asking him questions. When Izuku finished making the food, they both sat at a bar that was there, while they simply ate the short blonde boy. Eijiro. Kaminari. Try what Izuku made. Denki only went with Eijiro and then tried some of Izuku's food. Denki. It's delicious! Eijiro. He is a real man. Denki. Wait a minute, cooking makes you more of a man. Eijiro. Did you not know that? While the two of them were just talking, Izuku ignored them. When he finished, he went back to his room. When he arrived, Eri was still asleep. Izuku just sat at the desk to continue reading the book, which, hopefully, this time there would be nothing that would stop him from reading it. As the first half hour passed, Eri woke up, drawing Izuku's attention. Izuku. Good morning, are you hungry? Eri. A little. Izuku. Do you want me to get you something? Eri. I better wait for Momo. Izuku. I understand, what do you want to do now? Eri. I want to be with Momo. Izuku. Well, we can see if she's awake maybe. Eri. Okay. Izuku took Eri by the hand to leave his room to get to Momo's. When they were in front of the door, Izuku knocked on the door. About 5 minutes passed and Momo still didn't answer and opened it. Izuku. I guess he hasn't woken up. Eri. That's too bad. Izuku. How about coming back later? Eri. Okay. Before they both started walking, the door to Kyoka's room opened. Izuku decided to ignore her, however she spoke to him. Kyoka. Midoriya? What are you doing here? Izuku. I was looking for Yaoyorozu. Izuku's warm voice surprised Kyoka a little since the last time she spoke to him he had the usual cold attitude. At that moment Eri greeted Kyoka, which made Izuku smile a little. Izuku. Jiaru? It's not like that. Kyoka. Yes. Izuku. I'd like to leave Eri and you, it's not that it bothers me, I'm just a little tired. Kyoka. Why don't you both stay? You can wait for Momo here and you can rest a little. Izuku. What do you say, Eri? Eri. I like the idea. Kyoka. Come in. Izuku took Eri by the hand and they both entered Kyoka's room. You can lie down on the bed. Izuku. Thank you. Eri. Hey Izuku. Izuku. Yes? Eri. Could you tell us more about yourself? Izuku. What do you want to know? Kyoka. Well, how was your childhood? Izuku. Actually, you could say that I didn't have much, but the one I had was a very good one. Although my father was absent for most of it, I was always with my mother. It was a good time. Kyoka. Now where are your parents? Izuku. They died when I was 6, don't say anything, it was just something that happened. At those words from Izuku, Eri got into bed to hug Izuku. Eri. Everything will be okay. Izuku. Thank you. Izuku had fallen asleep while hugging Eri. Kyoka. It seems that you can't get out of there. Eri. It doesn't bother me, it's a little warm. Kyoka. Do you want to go see if Momo has woken up yet? Eri. How do I get out of here? Kyoka. Let me help you, we just have to release her grip and move her hand away, I don't think it will be very difficult. Kyoka stood up from the chair she was sitting on and tried to release Izuku's grip, however it was a little strong, which made Kyoka cockfight on top of Izuku, but this caused him to release his hand, separating Eri from him. Although Izuku had released Eri, another problem had arisen, which was that Izuku, upon feeling Kyoka's weight, rolled over a little, leaving her by his side while he put one of his arms on top of Kyoka, causing her to blush. Eri. You seem to be in a hurry. Kyoka. Just a little, you were right, it is very warm. At that moment Momo entered the room. Although at first she did not notice the scene, it did not take long for her to react. Momo. What's going on? Kyoka. It's not what you think, I was just helping Eri out of a hug from Midoriya, but I fell on him and ended up like this. Momo. Why don't you wake up Midoriya? At Kyoka's words near Izuku's ear, he woke up, and when he saw Kyoka near him and realized that he was hugging her, he felt a little embarrassed, which made him get out of bed without much time passing, breaking his hug with Kyoka. Izuku. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Kyoka. No problem. Izuku. I see that Yaoyorozu is already here, I better leave you two alone. Before anyone could speak, Izuku had already left the room. Izuku, upon arriving at his room, lay down on his bed. Izuku. Why the hell is this happening to me? I knew I shouldn't have entered that room, now I've ruined something else. Even though a few hours had already passed, Izuku hadn't been able to get the thought out of his head, which surprised Izuku a little. Normally he wouldn't care, but this time it was different. Izuku. Maybe I should talk to her, maybe she can explain the situation a little. What does it matter? After Izuku built up his confidence, he left his room. When he was in front of Kyoka's door, he only knocked on the door a few times. Kyoka. Come in. Izuku slowly opened the door, however, no matter how sorry he was, he could no longer back out. Izuku. Hello, sorry about what happened in the morning. Kyoka. There's no problem with that, don't worry. Izuku. I guess Eri is Yaoyorozu. Kyoka. Yes. Izuku. By the way, how did it end up like this? Kyoka. Simplifying things, I tried to get Eri out of your hug, but I slipped and fell on you, and well, it made it end like this. Izuku. I see. Kyoka. Since you're here, could you stay and talk for a while? Izuku. I guess so. Although the atmosphere had become a little heavy due to the attitude that Izuku took again towards Kyoka, it seems that it was not an impediment for him to continue talking to him. Kyoka. What kind of music do you like? Izuku. Well, I only really listen to Beethoven. Kyoka. You're kidding, right? Come on, we all listen to music without exception. Izuku. Well, maybe the term all should be replaced with majority. Kyoka. I guess you're right. Izuku. What about you, what music do you listen to? Kyoka. Well, it's a little weird, I've always been a fan of rock of any kind, with the exception of the heavy. Izuku. Why weird? Kyoka. Well, you know, it's not normal for a girl to listen to that music. Izuku. That's not weird, we all have certain types of tastes. Kyoka. Yes, but people don't see it in the best way. Izuku. Well, don't care what others say. Before I only talked to my teachers, and despite the fact that everyone at school talked badly about me and they looked at me with a little hatred, I never cared. Kyoka. Why did you do that? Izuku. They were all just idiots who just wanted to play and bother others. Kyoka. I see. Izuku. I see you know how to play the guitar, but do you also play acoustic? Kyoka. In fact, I started with that one, but as time went by I ended up liking the electric one more. Do you play anything? Izuku. No, I think most of my life is based on reading, suffering a little, although I haven't lived long enough to be happy. Maybe one day that will become real. Kyoka. I remember that a few days ago Momo tried to get me to read a book, unfortunately I didn't even manage to get past the prologue. Izuku. Maybe it's not your thing, you play the guitar, that's not as easy as just reading. Kyoka. You're right. Around an hour and 15 minutes Izuku had left Kyoka's room. When he got to his own he just lay down on the bed. Finally he managed to get that weight off his shoulders. After no more than 20 minutes Izuku had fallen asleep. When he woke up he just took a shower and went to the dining room. When he arrived he noticed how more people had already arrived, a pink-skinned girl and an invisible girl. When he was in the kitchen nobody had prepared anything yet, which forced him to prepare something. While he was doing so Momo and Eri entered the kitchen. Eri. Izuku exclamation mark. Izuku. What's wrong? Eri. Well, Momo and I were hungry, but could you prepare something for us? Izuku. Sure, for now you can have a glass of milk. Yaoyorozu, do you want something to drink while you wait? Momo. No, I'm fine like this, thanks. Izuku. Okay, wait a bit. Both girls just sat at the bar to wait. Only before Izuku finished making food for the two Eijiro entered the kitchen. Eijiro. Midoriya the chef is back, I guess you already know what I'm about to say. Izuku. Yes, don't worry. Eijiro, although he expected Izuku's cold attitude, this time he maintained a friendly one. Eijiro sat next to Momo since it seemed that Eri was scared of him. Eijiro. Yaoyorozu, could you tell me who that little girl belongs to? Momo. She's just someone Midoriya rescued. Eijiro. What? Apart from being a chef, you're already a hero, you know how life goes. Izuku. It's nothing, you could do it too. Eijiro. And there's that phrase again. Izuku. What do you want me to say, that's how things work plus. Eijiro. I guess you're right. After Izuku gave his plate to Eri and Momo, it didn't take long for him to give his to Eijiro and serve himself to the clearing, after a somewhat strange dinner for Momo because she hadn't seen Izuku speak so openly. When Izuku finished his dinner, Eri went with him to his room to sleep, but just at the moment they were about to leave, Momo spoke to Izuku. Izuku. Could you go ahead? Eri. Yes. Izuku just went back to the kitchen where only the two of them were, which made Izuku a little more serious. Izuku. What's wrong? Momo. Well, do you have plans for tomorrow? Izuku. None. Momo. I would like to propose reading a book in my room. At that moment Izuku, without realizing it, had become a little nervous. Izuku. I suppose it's a good idea, what book do you want to read? Momo. Don Quixote de la Mancha, it's a book that I haven't read in a while and I always do it with someone, is that okay with you? Izuku. I like the idea, then, what time? Momo. Perfect. Then I'll see you in my room tomorrow around 7:30 p.m. Izuku. Okay, I'll be there. After that little talk Izuku left the kitchen to go to his room. After that Momo just ran to Kyoka's room. Momo. I did it, if I accept. Kyoka. I told you, although I doubt you can make much progress by reading a simple book. Momo. Do you want to try? Kyoka. We must get rid of that habit, if someone hears they will think we are competing for their love or something like that. Momo. You are right. Izuku had found Eri asleep, he just sat on the floor while leaning on the bed. As time passed Izuku fell completely asleep. After a somewhat strange dream for Izuku, he was alone in Yaoyorozu's room reading the book they had agreed on until she slowly began to approach him. Izuku, he only kept his gaze on her eyes which shone beautifully. Momo continued to approach Izuku until their faces were centimeters apart. Izuku woke up. Although this had happened before, Izuku had a somewhat strange feeling. Seeing Eri asleep, he relaxed a little and then entered his bathroom. He just stayed for a while looking at himself in the mirror. After he just wet his face a little and left. When he reached the kitchen, only the pink girl was in it. Izuku ignored her and just poured himself some milk and sat on the bar. You are Midoriya, right? Izuku. Yes. Well, Kirishima told me that you cook very well and I have not been able to do anything all morning, could you help me? Izuku. Just wait until I finish this and I will prepare something for you. Okay, by the way, I am Mina Ashido, nice to meet you. This time Ashido did not receive a response from Izuku, who had accelerated his way of drinking his milk a little. When he finished, he washed the cup and began to prepare something. At first Izuku was just doing it while Ashido looked at him analytically. After a while Ashido broke the silence. Ashido. Is your hair like that? Izuku. What do you mean? Ashido. Well, is that its natural color or did you dye it? Izuku. That's right, why do you ask? Ashido. Curiosity. After that, no one spoke again until Izuku gave it to him. Izuku. If you need anything else, just go to my room. At those words Izuku left the kitchen because it was the last day they had given him to move and most of the students would arrive. When he got to his room, Eri was waking up. Eri. What do you do to wake up so early? Izuku. I've gotten used to it, do you want to have breakfast? Eri. I'd rather wait for Momo. Izuku. I understand, since it's 10:40 a.m., I doubt Yaoyorozu hasn't woken up yet, do you want to go see? Eri. This is going to become a habit. Izuku. Ha, not at all, shall we go? Eri. Yes. After that Izuku took Eri by the hand as they both left the room. When they reached Momo's, it was just a coincidence that she was leaving her room. Izuku. Yaoyorozu, Eri wants to have breakfast with you, could you join her? Momo. No problem. After that Momo left with Eri while Izuku had stayed thinking for a moment. No more than 5 minutes would pass for Izuku to go back to his room. A few hours had passed since Izuku had entered his room. After so much thinking, the only thing that managed to get him out of his own world was his stomach growling from the hunger he had acquired. Upon leaving his room, he only went to the kitchen and could see how Shoto was burning what he was preparing. Izuku. Despite having a fire quirk, you don't know how to control the element. Shoto. I had already told you not to mention that. Izuku. I'm sorry, but you do have a way out. Shoto. If you just came to reproach me to my face, you better leave. Izuku. You look like a little kid, I'm just hungry. After that, Izuku fixed all the mess that Shoto had made and prepared something quickly. I thought you were just going to leave, take it. Izuku brought a plate to Shoto, who had no choice but to eat it. After finishing his meal, Izuku just washed his plate and left the kitchen without anything to say. It was about to be 7 p.m., so he just took a shower and headed to Momo's room. When he knocked on the door, Izuku heard a few things falling inside the room. It wasn't more than 3 minutes before Momo opened the door. Momo. Please come in. Izuku immediately noticed how well he had planned that moment upon entering the room. Izuku. It's a nice atmosphere. Momo. Thank you. Izuku. By the way, where's Eri? Momo. I left her with Kyoka, I hope you don't mind. Izuku. Not at all, I'm glad she likes it. Momo. How about we start reading? Izuku. I like the idea. Izuku. By Momo's order, both were leaning on the headboard of the bed. Momo had unconsciously leaned on Izuku, and although at first he noticed it, after a while he just ignored it. It had been a while since they started reading. Both had created a relaxed atmosphere without any tension. After a long time of reading, Momo had noticed the position they were both in. She just blushed a little until Izuku realized that Momo had already noticed. Izuku. I'm sorry, you looked comfortable before and were so focused on reading that I didn't want to bother you. Momo. It doesn't matter, anyway I was the one who caused it. Izuku. Well, I've wanted to ask you something for a while, can I? Momo. Sure. Izuku. Even though you knew I wouldn't keep Eri away from someone she cares about, why did you decide to get to know me better? The girl just stayed thinking for a while. Izuku had really taken her by surprise by asking that question. About 15 minutes passed and Momo still didn't say anything. Izuku. If you don't have an answer now, you could tell me another day. Momo. No, I already have it. At first I just thought you were someone self-centered, but when you confided something delicate to me I noticed that you were a person who just hadn't had much luck. But what most motivated me to get to know you better was when you came to my house with Eri. It was your attitude and the way you managed to prevent me from mentioning your condition in front of Eri. That was what motivated me to get to know you better. Izuku, upon hearing Momo's remaining words of stop, just limited himself to hugging the girl, and although she was surprised at one point, she accepted the hug. Izuku. Thanks. Momo. Calm down. After a while Izuku had noticed the hug, so he just hugged Momo a little quickly. English, Momo. But now you answer my question, why do you want to be a hero? Izuku. After everything that happened I only had it in mind to get rid of all my frustration, but after a while and with the death of my teacher that changed, I realized that taking it out on society, whether I was doing the right thing, was not the most convenient, so now I just want to honor the Midoriya surname. Momo. I see. Izuku. And you? Momo. Well, a few days ago it was just to not disappoint my parents, but since I met Eri and she told me what had happened and how you saved her, my motive was totally altered, making me only want to become a good heroine to help people in need. Izuku. I see, well at least you're helping me now. Izuku smiled tenderly at Momo when he said these words, which made the girl blush a little. Momo. Well, it's only 9:30 p.m., do you want to do something else? Izuku. Well, since we're here, I've been thinking about your quirk, and rarely about you, and I think that if you use the lipids in your body you can create or make a pill or something similar that has the nutrients you need, and you would just have to wait for your metabolism to do the rest. Momo. I think it could work, however I don't think I can create it with my quirk. Izuku. Well, I could help you with that, it's not that I have a lot of things to do. Momo. Perfect, then I hope to soon have a list of what my body needs so that it can create things. Izuku. Sounds good to me. Momo. Don't you have another hobby besides reading books? Izuku. Before I used to write down the quirks of the professional heroes, although after all now I only read books. Momo. So that's why you managed to analyze my quirks so thoroughly, although you had already told me that, is there nothing else? Izuku. None, what about you? Momo. Now I just have a little competition with Kyoka, but it's nothing interesting. Izuku. What kind of competition? Momo. It's nothing special. Izuku. Just tell me, you can trust me. At that moment Momo was just cursing herself for mentioning the kind of competition she had with Kyoka. Momo. He's just the one who has the best performance in UA Izuku. I don't think so, Jiro wouldn't compete against something that's hard to beat. Come on, you just tell me what you're competing about. Momo. That's that. Izuku. Well, if you don't want to tell me, I could ask Jiro. Momo. Oh, it's okay, Air just comp, Ting Abo, Ing Hu H, has the best friendship with you in the least amount of time. At that moment Izuku was a little surprised but just decided to ignore it. Izuku. Then you have a bigger advantage. Saying that, Izuku smiled at her again, only this time Momo blushed but was a little confused. Momo. What do you mean? Izuku. Well, apart from the fact that you know about my condition, we've been together for much longer, and how to say it, I trust you and I am grateful that you are by my side. Although Momo was surprised by these words from Izuku, inside she was a little excited. Momo. Just don't say anything to Kyoka. Izuku. You can count on it. After talking for a while, Izuku left Momo's room. When he got to his own, he remembered that Eri was still in Kyoka's room, so he turned around and went to her room. When he arrived, he knocked on the door, and just as Kyoka expected, the one who knocked was Izuku. After Eri said goodbye to Kyoka, she went with Izuku to their respective rooms. When they arrived, Eri was a little sleepy, so they both fell asleep after 10 minutes. The next morning, Izuku had to wake up early to get ready and go to UA, or rather to his respective classroom. After a shower, Izuku just took an apple and left slowly. When he arrived, there was practically no one. He just went to his seat and lay down on his arms. After a while, everyone was already in the classroom. When Eraserhead was giving the class, Izuku was still lying in his arms, which bothered a plain blonde. Several minutes had passed and you could notice how it bothered that boy more and more. After not holding back any longer, he alone got up with a noticeable anger. Upon reaching Izuku's place, he alone kicked Izuku's desk, causing her to suddenly get up. You're just a conceited idiot. Izuku. It was about time you gave me one of your stupid complaints. Why don't you just get out of my damn way? You're just getting in my way. Izuku. You see, I was just sitting in my place. You're the idiot who makes up woman dramas to get attention. You're a fucking broccoli who only believes yourself to be a big deal. Izuku. Come on, you know very well that you're wrong. After such a commotion that was already being created, Eraserhead just went to where they both were and held the blonde boy with his bandages. Eraserhead. Bakugo, why don't you make this simpler and go to your place? Katsuki. No way, why don't you do anything to that damn broccoli? Eraserhead. He didn't do anything, just go to your place already. Katsuki, after a lot of curses, went to his place indignant. After that, Izuku only coughed a little. After that, Eraserhead returned to give the class. Although Izuku at first had not increased his cough, after a few minutes this increased, so Izuku alone left the classroom, leaving most of the students confused. When Izuku left, most of the classroom, although they were confused, believed that Eraserhead would do something, but he just continued giving the class normally. After a while, Izuku returned. He alone asked for permission to enter, which was granted by Eraserhead. After entering, the class continued normally, or at least that is what some thought. However, Izuku noticed that sometimes he looked at him in a strange way, but this time, apart from noticing Katsuki's gaze, he also noticed that of others. However, these were not like before. At the end of classes, Izuku alone went to his room. Upon entering the room, Eri, seeing the door open, at first had been scared. However, when seeing Izuku, she just ran towards him. Eri. Izuku! Izuku. I'm back. Eri. Why didn't you talk to me when you left? Izuku. Well, you were asleep and I didn't want to bother you. Eri. How did it go? Izuku. Nothing special. What did you do while I was gone? Eri. Well, a white bear came into the room and said his name was Nezu. He just gave me a small breakfast and then left. Izuku. What do you want to do now? Eri. Yesterday Kyoka was showing me the music she listens to and she told me that I could do it today too. Izuku. Today they left some homework, but I could help her with that. What do you think? Eri. Okay. Izuku. Now I doubt that I will arrive now, therefore I will just do my homework and when I finish we can go see. Eri. Yes. After 40 minutes, Izuku had already finished his homework. When he turned to see Eri, she told him that she was hungry, so Izuku went down to the kitchen to prepare something. When he arrived, there were several people there. They were only focused on a video game. After a while, Izuku left the kitchen with 2 plates and then went to his room alone. Both of them ate and then went to Kyoka's room. When they arrived, there was a knock on the door and after a while the door opened. Eri. Kyoka! Kyoka. Eri, what are you doing here? Eri. I wanted you to continue teaching me your music. Kyoka. I'm a little busy right now. Eri. It's because of the homework, right? Kyoka. Yes. Eri. That's why Izuku came to help you. Kyoka, seeing Izuku again, just gave a small smile as an affirmation. Kyoka. Okay, come in. As they passed by, Eri just laid down on Kyoka's bed while Izuku and Kyoka just sat at a desk. After several hours, Kyoka had already finished her homework. Kyoka. That was really difficult, how can you know so much? Izuku. It's nothing, now I'll leave Eri with you, I have to do something. Kyoka. Okay. After that, Izuku just got up from his chair to head to the door, however Kyoka took him by the hand, making him stop. Izuku. What's wrong? Kyoka. Thank you. Izuku. It's nothing. After that, Izuku left the room. When he left, he went alone with Eraserhead. However, when he arrived, he was talking to All Might, who first noticed the presence of life. All Might. Young Midoriya, what brings you here? Izuku. I really just came to talk to Eraserhead. All Might. May I know what you are going to talk about? Izuku. It is something private. All Might. I understand, Eraserhead, I leave plus. Eraserhead. Okay. After that, All Might left the place, leaving Eraserhead and Izuku alone. What do you want to talk about? Izuku. I think the League of Villains is going to attack again. Eraserhead. How can you be so sure? Izuku. Do you still have the tracking device? Eraserhead. Yes. Izuku. Well, I asked Yaoyorozu to create a second tracking screen because before taking Eri out of there I put the tracker on their leader. Eraserhead. How the hell can you be so prepared? Izuku. The point here is that he's been moving in a very dubious manner. Eraserhead. But what makes you understand that they will attack again? Izuku. Do you think that after I left with Eri they didn't bother, they had something big in mind? If it weren't for me taking Eri now this school would be a mess. Eraserhead. When do you think they will attack? Plus. Izuku. According to UA records there will be a sports festival soon, I'm not entirely sure but we need to talk to the principal to increase security. Eraserhead. And how did you get that information? Izuku. I have my methods. By the way, All Might, why don't you come in? At that moment All Might entered the room. All Might. I didn't want ... Izuku. Sooner or later we would have to tell you, but certainly I ask you that only if you think that Tagata is already suitable for your power and will control it quickly, it will be better that you wish it to him now. At that moment All Might and Eraserhead were surprised and scared by Izuku's words. All Might. How do you know that? Izuku. I had already used my quirk on you before, although at first I only thought it was a mistake for not controlling my quirk well. After a few years I tried again and it was still the same. After thinking about it I came to a small conclusion. All Might. You haven't told anyone, right? Izuku. I wouldn't have to, apart from that you've hidden it for a long time, so are you going to inherit your power to Tagata? All Might. For now it would be the most prudent thing to do. Izuku. If you do, let me know, he is already trained to be able to receive it, however he won't know how to control it, and even in your power there is something that even you don't know, maybe he can control it. All Might. Something that I don't know? Izuku. The time will come when you find out, for now that's all, I have to go back to the others. Eraserhead. Okay, tomorrow after classes we will go to the director. Izuku. Okay. After that Izuku retreated, leaving the two heroes with a chill down their spines. All Might. You must keep a close eye on that boy. Eraserhead. I think I will, not everyone can have such information about a hero. Izuku, upon arriving at his room, just lay down on his bed. For Izuku the day was a bit heavy. Izuku. Will these effects be normal on a person when Eri uses her quirk? I have a lot to think about. Izuku after a while fell completely asleep. When he woke up it was a little late, so he just took a shower and then went to Kyoka's room. Kyoka. I suppose you're going to take Eri now. Izuku. I just came to ask if you weren't hungry or something. Kyoka. In fact, we just finished eating. Izuku. Okay, In that case, when Eri wanted to leave, just send me a message. At that moment, Izuku handed a piece of paper to Kyoka. Or even if she decides to sleep here and you don't mind, send me a message and that's it. Kyoka. I understand. Izuku. Okay, I'm leaving. Kyoka closing the door. Izuku ready to go to sleep. However, on the way he met Momo. Momo. Midoriya, have you had dinner yet? Izuku. Not really. Momo. How about you join me? Izuku. Okay. After that, both boys headed to the kitchen. Izuku. There's nothing again, what the hell do you eat then? Momo. Hey, you're not the only cook here, maybe the best but not the only one. Izuku. Well, I better make something, what do you fancy? Momo. I just came to have some milk. Izuku. I understand, I'll give it to you now. After a while, Izuku had arrived at the bar with 2 cups of milk and 2 breads. Momo. Where is Eri? Izuku. She's with Kyoka, maybe she'll sleep there. Momo. Do you have plans for tomorrow? Izuku. It all depends on what happens after school. Momo. What the hell are you going to do? Izuku. Not really, it's a bit private. Momo. I understand. By the way, since Eri will sleep with Kyoka, I wanted to ask you do you want to sleep with me? Izuku. I've actually never slept with anyone else, let alone a girl. Momo. The weather turned a bit cloudy and it looks like it's going to rain. I've always been wary of lightning, and when that happened my mother slept with me. Izuku. Yes, I understand your point, just that, won't you feel uncomfortable? Momo. Don't worry about it. Izuku. If you put it that way. Momo. Will you? Izuku. Just lower your voice a little. Momo. I'm sorry. Izuku. What the hell did I just get myself into? After that awkward conversation, after finishing their respective drinks, Izuku just followed Momo to her room. Izuku. Have you ever managed to overcome that fear? Momo. Whenever I try, I never succeed. Izuku. I see, do you want to go to sleep already or do you want to do something first? Momo. I have nothing in mind. Izuku. Just something before that, how can you be sure that I won't try to do something improper at night? Momo. First of all, I have never seen you look at a person's body, you are always looking at their face, and second, when you are with Eri, it is not only she who feels protected. Izuku. I understand, well that was all, it will be better to sleep. At those words Izuku just sat on the floor using the bed to lean on, however Momo got angry at that act of the boy. Momo. You're supposed to sleep in the bed. Izuku. You mean I should ... Momo. Yes. After a good while of Izuku trying to avoid sleeping in the bed because of Momo's retorts, he accepted this term, which brings us to the current situation in which Izuku and Momo are lying back to back. The night was passing and each time the lightning and rain became stronger. As a result, Momo's fear increased. Izuku. You can't sleep right. Momo. No. After this response Izuku just turned around and hugged Momo from behind, creating a small blush on her, however she didn't take it much into account because of the warmth that had been created. Izuku. Just don't say something that will make me regret it. Izuku hadn't received any response from Momo, so he just settled down a bit and slowly fell asleep. The night had passed, so an alarm clock started ringing. After a while Izuku woke up realizing that he was still hugging Momo, so he just let go of her and slowly woke her up. Izuku. I'm going to go change, see you later. Momo. Okay. Izuku arrived at his room, took a shower and changed, then went to UA. Upon arriving there, he only limited himself to going to Kyoka to ask her about Eri, who only told him that when he left his room she was still asleep. The day went by normally until everyone left except for Eraserhead and Izuku, clearly. Eraserhead. We better finish this quickly, hopefully we won't have to wait for All Might. After that Izuku got up to clear the way and start walking behind the hero. When All Might arrived he was already with Nezu. Izuku. We'll get straight to the point, the League of Villains will probably try to attack UA during the sports festival. If their leader comes with them we'll have an advantage, however if it's only his henchmen we'll have to act quickly. Nezu. What do you have in mind? Izuku. First of all we must increase security and we'll have to create a strategy to get all the civilians out of there. we can't put them at risk, only this time I'm not sure what their objective will be other than coming for Eri. Nezu. I suppose you already have most of it planned. Izuku. Exactly, only for that my participation in the festival will not be possible. I'll be with All Might and Eri, if in case they attack with the help of Eri's quirk I'll be able to get everyone out of the place. Nezu. As I understand it, little Eri does not control her quirk, what do you plan to do? Izuku. My quirk acts as a filter for hers, as long as I have my quirk activated and I have even if it's the slightest contact, I can use my quirk at 100%, however, that requires a great physical effort afterwards. Nezu. As for security, I'll make sure it's increased, anyway, we have a few months. Izuku. Just don't be overconfident, we're not sure what they want to do. Nezu. I understand, you can leave now. After that talk Izuku finally managed to take off some of the weight he had on top of him, however when leaving the room All Might called him, Izuku just followed the hero to a patio which seemed to be empty. All Might. Young Midoriya as a first point required to thank you for what you're doing for the institution. Izuku. Wait, maybe it sounds a little rude but, could you get to the point? All Might. Do you think you can help young Tagata control his power in these 3 months? Izuku. That would take me a while, but I think that if we make the most of these 3 months he will make great progress. All Might. What will you need to do it? Izuku. Actually for training everything necessary they have at UA so it would only be a matter of Tagata and I dedicating these 3 months to his training. All Might. That would be impossible, they are 3 months of missed classes we cannot afford that. Izuku. Do not underestimate me, Tagata is the best in UA and as for me the director will surely accept. All Might. How can you be so sure? Izuku. He is the only one I have told everything about me, including my knowledge. By the way, what is there regarding, what was it called? Yes, one for all. After that the hero was really surprised by what Izuku All Might had said. Nobody except the carriers have known that, it is not something that is just played with. Izuku. Well actually it seems like child's play, anyway, if you were to pass it to Tagata? All Might. I was planning to give it to him today, only I haven't found it. Izuku. Wait a moment. At those words a slightly tense atmosphere was created as Izuku closed his eyes. After a while Izuku opened them and just left the place leaving All Might a little confused. After a while he arrived with Mirio. Izuku. Here it is, the faster we can finish this the better. After that Izuku just left that place leaving both men confused. Mirio. All Might, what did he mean? All Might. That you will be my successor. Mirio. I don't understand what he means. All Might. Young Tagata, you have been trained to receive my power, the one for all. For now I can't give you a long explanation but in short it is a power that has been inherited by several people to create a pillar in which people can trust, and now it's your turn. Mirio. I understand, what do I have to do? After those words All Might took a hair and gave it to Mirio, which confused him. Mirio. What am I supposed to do? All Might. You need to eat it to inherit the power. Mirio. I understand. After a bit of hesitation on Mirio's part this term eating the hair. All Might. That is the mood. From now on, Tagata Mirio, you will be my successor and the next pillar of society. Mirio. I understand! Exclamation mark. All Might. Now I have to tell you that young Midoriya will be the one to train you to control the one for all. Mirio. Who is he? Where should I go? All Might. He's the boy who brought you here. Mirio. Isn't this supposed to be a secret? All Might. Young Midoriya is a special case, you only trust him. Mirio. I understand. Izuku was just walking around UA until he remembered to go see Eri. When he got to the dorms he just went to Kyoka's room which didn't take long to open. Eri. Izuku! Exclamation mark. Izuku. Hello Eri, I have something important to tell you. Eri. What is it? Izuku. In these 3 months I'm going to be busy with something so I won't be able to be with you. Eri. No please Izuku, don't go. Izuku. I'm not leaving UA alone, I won't have much time, unless you come with me. Eri. Yes! Exclamation mark. Izuku. Okay, tomorrow we'll go to the 3rd year facilities. Kyoka. What are you going to do? Izuku. I'm just going to help someone with some training. Kyoka. What about classes? Izuku. I won't introduce myself, I'll tell Eraserhead tomorrow. Kyoka. I understand, I guess you're leaving now. Izuku. I'm afraid so, I want Eri to sleep early because tomorrow will be a bit of a hectic day. Kyoka. I understand. With those words Izuku went to his room with Eri on his back. Upon arriving there they both packed a few things and then went to sleep. The night was quiet. When Izuku woke up he took a shower and combined and woke Eri up. Izuku. We have to go now. Eri. Okay. After a while they both left the room to go to the classroom. When Eraserhead arrived Izuku approached him. Izuku. All Might told him. Eraserhead. Tell me what? Izuku. I'll be training Tagata for these 3 months, so I won't be coming to class. Eraserhead. At least it's for a good senior. Izuku. I guess. After finishing their talk with the hero Izuku and Eri went to the third-year classroom. When they arrived they only knocked on the door and it was hero number 13 who opened it. Number 13. Shouldn't you be in class? Izuku. Actually I came for someone from your class, Tagata Mirio. Number 13. Who is calling you? Izuku. Me. Number 13 knowing what had happened with Izuku at the USJ for a moment hesitated to give him permission to go with Mirio, however after thinking about it he agreed. Number 13. Okay, young Tagata come exclamation mark. Mirio. What's wrong ? Izuku. Let's go, we need to finish this quickly. Mirio. Okay. Izuku. By the way, Tagata will be absent from school for 3 months. At these words that impressed the entire classroom, both boys stood up and said nothing more. As they both walked, a slightly tense atmosphere had been created, or at least for Mirio. Mirio. How are we supposed to train? Izuku. You'll see. Eri. Who is he? Izuku. True, he's Tagata Mirio, we'll be with him these months. Eri. He's not bad, right? Izuku. Not at all, you can trust him. Eri. It's okay. After a while of walking they had already arrived at the third-year facilities. Mirio. We finally arrived, you can put your things in my room, follow me. When Mirio and Izuku had already left their bags, whose attitude slowly returned as they moved further away, they went to talk a little away from Eri. Izuku. This is simple, for a month the training will be dedicated only to the main part of the one for all. When you control most of the first part we will move on to the most complicated part. Mirio. More complicated, All Might never mentioned any of that. Izuku. That's because he doesn't know either. Mirio. But if he is a carrier. Izuku. That doesn't mean that he knows everything about the power, there is something else in it. Mirio. I understand. Izuku. See you at the training camp in 40 minutes. Mirio. Okay. Izuku just went back with Eri, leaving Mirio thinking. Izuku. In a while we will go to train, do you want to come? Eri. Yes. Izuku. Okay, are you hungry? Eri. I'm fine, thanks. Izuku. If you get hungry or want something just let me know, understood? Eri. Yes. Izuku. Do you want to meet Tagata? Eri. Only if he doesn't hurt me. Izuku. Calm down, you'll be fine, Tagata could you come exclamation mark. Mirio. What's wrong? Izuku. This is Eri, for now I ask you to stay with her, I'm going out for a moment, just remember to take her with you when you go to the training camp. Mirio. Okay. Just as Izuku said after that he left the room. Mirio. Hello little one, nice to meet you. Eri. Hello. Mirio. Come on, don't be scared, I won't do anything to you. Eri. I understand. Mirio. I know. Midoriya lets you eat ice cream. Eri. I've never tried it. Mirio. Then today will be the first time you try it, come follow me. Eri. Okay. While the two of them were having fun, Izuku was alone in the courtyard trying to come up with a correct and efficient training, and so the minutes had passed until the meeting time arrived. Mirio. How will we start? Izuku. All Might mentioned how to activate it. Mirio. No. Izuku. Let's see, if the quirk is mainly energy accumulated by different people, try to release energy. Mirio. Are you sure? Izuku. Yes, despite several attempts Mirio didn't achieve anything. Mirio. I think it's not working. Izuku. Of course not, did you notice anything strange when trying? Mirio. Just a little tickling. Izuku. A tickling, hey, now we can only do a few things, so today's training will be a bit short. Now try to release proportional energy throughout your body at that moment. Small blue rays began to come out of Mirio's body. Mirio. This is great. Izuku. So that's how it works, how much energy are you releasing? Mirio. Very little, I didn't want to risk it. Izuku. You're right, if the energy is more than your body support, maybe it could cause you some physical damage. Mirio. How are you so sure? Izuku. Simple analysis, and a bit of my quirk. Now try to move Mirio without needing to make any effort, manage to move at a speed greater than he already could. Mirio. Amazing. My speed increased. Izuku. Not only that, your strength also did. For now we will only train with this, tomorrow I will have something more elaborate. You already had an established training, right? Mirio. Yes. Izuku. Now do it, but with the one for all activated. Mirio. Okay, after a while Izuku just saw how Mirio more tired than usual. Izuku. Stop. Mirio. I'm not done yet. Izuku. I already know that, but from what I see, keeping the one for all activated requires a greater physical load. Mirio. That explains why I got tired so quickly. Izuku. That's all for today, rest and take care of Eri, I need more information if I want to be able to make an efficient routine. Mirio. Okay, good luck! It didn't take long for Izuku to leave. Izuku was only heading to a specific place, All Might's office. When he arrived after a while, the hero opened the door. All Might. Young Midoriya, have you finished training with young Tagata? Izuku. For now, yes, I just need you to tell me a few details. All Might. Okay, come in. Izuku. Exactly how one for all works. All Might. What I know about it is that it is such a quantity of energy that has been gathered by various people over time. I have not known more about the power, only that it increases all your physical capabilities. Izuku. Yes, we already discovered that, but can it be used with another active quirk? All Might. I don't know. Izuku. I see, what would happen if the user exceeds the limit of energy that his body can contain? All Might. That would result in too much physical damage. Now I ask you a question, what did you mean that one for all has more than just that? Izuku. I hope that you would find out if Tagata controlled it, but what else? English. Yeah, when analyzing your quirk it only showed that you had not only one, but several. All Might. What do you mean? Izuku. It seems that not only energy is maintained with the one for all but also the quirks of previous carriers. All Might. It couldn't be possible, my teacher never mentioned that. Izuku. Yes, it seems crazy but that is the most accurate. If Tagata manages to control those quirks he could be a great hero. All Might. I just hope and nothing goes wrong. Izuku. Don't be too sure, there is too much that the one for all hides. All Might. I understand, but now it is time for work so I ask you to leave. Izuku. Okay, by the way, later we will have to talk about Nana Shimura.